Welcome to Diary of an Unemployed Actor with me, Milo Dennison. Today I am joined by the fantastic Aidan O Sullivan, a longtime actor and a great guy to work with. Thanks for joining me on the show.
Hello, Milo, and thanks. I'm part of that club now, unemployed actor.
Yeah.
I think everybody is. Yeah, it's bizarre. I mean, and it's weird. I mean, the month of March, I was supposed to be very busy, not just with acting. I mean, I'd love to be doing acting all the time, but I had some paid short films, and also I was a lot of tour guiding work lined up, and I like doing that when I'm not acting because it's fun. It's with people. But basically anything to do with people.
You're a very social person. Yeah. Like from knowing you. Yeah. You seem like that.
But also when you think about it, there's some jobs where when you think about it, when you walk in the shops that are open now, like the shops open, like chemists, and there's even the laptop shops open because for communications and phones. When you think about it, you walk into there and you kind of generally do keep about 1.5 meters away from people anyway. Well, that's 2 meters. So in a way, it's not much of a big deal keeping that distance between the till person and the attendant. But of course, if you're acting or like on a short film or on a film or a play, then obviously you can't be directing a play like 2 meters apart the whole time.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to me. Same thing. I was supposed to be kind of busy. I got cast in a theater production in April this month, and we were supposed to be performing. I think the performances were starting next week, so I should have been rehearsing all month and doing and that got canceled. And then same thing. Any auditions and film stuff's just gone.
It's so strange now. You're so used to like every day or every couple of times a week going online, applying for things, but now it's like where's everybody gone?
Yeah, there's nothing.
But what I find now is that a lot of people now are putting up like sketches or videos or blogging because there's no option.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only so much exercise you can do. There's only so much, talking on the phone. There's only so much watching TV. I mean, I'm proud of myself for this virus situation or lockdown. I've resisted the urge to watch a load of TV. I want to keep it creative, like watching YouTube, like documentaries, tutorials, reading and starting to write. But yeah, no, in a way, I think with this whole lockdown thing for actors, for creative people, they've always wanted to do something but never had the time, like doing like podcasts, interviews. But so I think, yes, I know it'd be great to be working and doing what you were planning to do. But if there's no option, then yeah, the only option is, get creative.
Yeah. Well, that's me. Like I had the YouTube series for a while where we would interview people. And then when I moved to London, that kind of dried up, but I still enjoy the talking to other actors and filmmakers and that kind of stuff. And so I've been milling around this idea in my head for a while of doing a podcast. And that's exactly it. Sitting at home now, it's like there's no excuse anymore not to do it.
I mean, it's like for me, like it's kind of like for me for writing, it was always like, well, you know what, I'm too busy. I was doing a play. I'm learning lines, getting ready for the tour guiding work, events work, basically keeping on the go and then meeting people, family. Yeah, now it's like, I mean, when you think about it, where I am now is in a place called Dunfanaghy, which is northwest Donegal.
And for anyone listening, Donegal is West Ireland or I'm trying to remember from when I lived
northwest.
there.
Here's what's confusing. Politically, it's Southern Ireland. Geography-wise, it's Northern Ireland. Work that one out. Or just Google Maps. But basically, it's weird because when you're in Dublin, I always like coming up to Donegal because it's like a holiday. Because it's quiet and you see family, friends. But like, say, okay, for example, like 3 weeks ago, I was in Cardiff for a short film. I landed in Bristol, went to Cardiff, I stayed there. I was supposed to stay there for like a long time, well, about a week and a half. We got the filming done. But then the next day, my brother-in-law, who's a pilot for Aer Lingus, says, Aiden, I know you want to stay an extra week for a holiday, but I advise you to get home. Up until then, there was no social distancing. There was no, approach the counter with care. There was just signs up saying hand sanitizers out of stock. That was the only thing. There was nothing about COVID-19. Now you walk into shops, it's keep 2 meters away. COVID-19, wash your hands. But 3 weeks ago, I'm like, so kind of Wales, England, we got the film done. It's just weird now, everything. Okay, what I'm saying is back then, it didn't seem as serious as it is now.
Yeah.
So like basically I got home but basically before I came up here about a week and a half ago, I was thinking, right, it'd be great to go to Donegal. I know this is serious, but 2 weeks, a bit of a break, get away from all the things being closed. But now I was like, hang on a second, 2 weeks, maybe 2 months. And the scenario was so strange. You get up, and I think my dad is, the older he gets, he's big into all this hugging now.
Say that again. He's big
My
into what?
dad's big
Hugging now?
into hugging.
Hugging.
Hugging, like giving you a hug.
Oh, hugging. Okay.
But what I mean is like, so now when I go up home, but this time he got out of the car and he was giving me my mother's car to use. So he walked around the back and I walked around the front. It was like some kind of standoff in a cowboy film.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, it's like, oh, that's right. You know, it's here too. It's not just Dublin, you know, the whole lockdown thing. So anyway, but then basically, I'm now my sister has a holiday home in Dunfanaghy. It's by the sea. It's by the mountains, by a small village, which has a shop and a pharmacy, and that's it.
Sounds tranquil, though. I mean, it sounds nice. Yeah.
It is. And the strange thing is, today is a clear blue sky. And it's like summertime. And it's so freaky. It's like a movie set. It's like some kind of creepy. It's like living in one of the zombie films. You wake up and it's like no one there.
Oh, that's funny.
And but it's so strange. I mean, it's like yesterday I drove back into Letterkenny, which is the main town, to visit my parents. And I had a cup of coffee and a sandwich, but my mother served me through the window.
Really? So you couldn't actually go into your parents' house?
Well, that's the thing. See, they're over 70, and it's like, but again, I knew getting the bus up, okay, this is serious. But it's only when it really, you read about it, like, lockdown and this and that's closed, and you think, oh, I can't get a coffee anymore. Oh, it's more like an inconvenience. Then it's like, I can't even go to my parents' house. Then it's like, oh, holy, this is really, really serious. So when you're reading the newspapers and watching TV, this is happening, there's a lockdown, there's people dying, and then it's like, that's bad, that's sad. But then it's just so surreal, and it's like a film.
And it's everybody, like everybody's experiencing the exact same thing. Even the news here in London today is that Boris
Johnson.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, I read that and I thought it was one of those fake, one of those kind of a satire or the kind of joke kind of website things.
That's what I thought too. When I first heard it, I was like, oh, whatever. And then you look it up and it's really true. So, wow.
But it goes to show you, and Prince Charles, it's not, so basically it's like the coronavirus doesn't care what your bank balance is, doesn't care what's after your name, like is it Milo Dennison, PhD, XYZ. You know what I think, and I've said this to my mother, it's important to be informed, but I think it's not good to watch too much news about it, because then you get into like panic mode. But yeah, I know it's all surreal, it's all bizarre, but I just think, keep creative. Mm-hmm. And you know as well, it's not just actors and people like ourselves, but I think there's people out there who, some people can work from home, but some people can't work from home, so they're getting this government pay thing.
Yeah.
And say if they've no like family or no whatever, but they've always had a big job, they kept a lot of their energy. They said they're going to use this time. I've always wanted to write a book. I've always wanted to even read something that I've never had a chance to read. Mm-hmm. Because you can't go on holiday. You know what? Someone said to me 2 weeks ago, it's like Christmas, but without the fun.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
Christmas time, you're off. There's nothing to do. You watch TV. You hang out with friends. It's like the time off, but there's nothing to do. Yeah. You can't call around people's houses.
So what are you writing? Because you said that you've been doing some writing. What are you working on writing wise?
Well, in Film Network Ireland, they had the competition put up. You buy you chip in €15 to a pot. And the more people that chip in, the more money available for a prize money. So by the 31st of the month, you have I think it's a 6-page short story written. And it's something to do with the coronavirus. It doesn't have to be like, an apocalypse thing, or it can be basically about a guy sitting at a kitchen table. As long as the coronavirus has some bearing on the story. So you don't have to have it, or just so kind of writing a few ideas on that. But the deadline is the 31st. So I have to knuckle down to which story I want to focus on. I'm also, for the last couple of weeks, I've been writing down ideas for like jokes for like a stand-up comedy routine.
Have you done stand-up before?
I've done it before, but at amateur open mic competitions. I think, again, I'm not saying I perfected it, but I think my style would be storytelling. Well, when I say storytelling, I don't mean like long story, but just talking about something that I saw or happened, and then kind of giving my take on it. Because I don't think I could do the whole Tommy Tiernan thing. We come out with bundles of energy. Some of the best comedians I've seen, be they famous or not famous, are the ones that come out and it just looks like they're talking. It looks like they're just coming out and going, you know, just like this. It's not like, hey, and I went down to the shop and oh my God, it was. But no, I think, yeah, I mean, just from hearing things, seeing things, just gives me ideas for, you know, I think that sounds funny or that could be funny to say. But I think as well, don't try and be funny. I think be as understated as possible and as laid back as possible.
Yeah, the key with stand-up is definitely find your style and go with it, and don't try to like imitate somebody else or
put on a kind of a really energetic, oh my God, I'm so wacky. And it couldn't be, yeah, it's just like, God, it might even be annoying or you're trying too much. But also I want to, from Dublin, I've brought up other plays and books in a suitcase I've never got around to reading. And my dad has a whole pile of books. And The Catcher in the Rye, that's been in my family home since I can remember. So I've got that and I want to read that. I want to read all these classics that people talk about. Yeah, just get creative and watch good films.
Have you watched, what have you watched?
My nephew, who's in the other house above me, at my other sister's house, he says watch, and the people who made this film, they must be making a lot of money now in royalties. I've never seen it, but he's given it to me to watch. It's called Contagion.
Oh yeah, because you see tons of posts about it and stuff. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know it's 28 Days Later, but that's zombie. But apparently Contagion is about a virus that starts off in the middle of nowhere, then spreads. The scenario, with the exception of the millions dying, it's the same scenario. And I'm thinking, my word, the people who made this, you know, the royalties if you buy a DVD or download something, the people get something. They must be going, and I don't sound sick to say, but they must be a small bit going, well, okay.
Yeah. Well, because that movie's kind of old. It's been around for a few years, if I remember correctly, when it came out. But same thing, I've seen posts about it on Facebook and stuff.
But remember, after like Love Hate, it was a big Irish gang TV show. There was a lot of gangster short films made, or gangland feature films, or gangland TV shows. Of course, after this, I mean, it's going to be like coronavirus. You know, it's going to be an industry.
Yeah, there'll be tons of movies and stuff about it and TV series. And
that's why people are probably writing them right now.
Yeah. Well, they got the time.
But I don't think it'd be really, the only exciting thing, I mean, they couldn't really do it about normal people and not being a snob. It's just because what are you going to show a film about normal people staying at home?
Maybe. You never know. If they're the right mix of, so there's your film. It's what you assume are normal people. They're trapped at home due to the coronavirus, but their natural quirkiness of being who they are then creates that conflict, but they can't leave the house because they're trapped at home with coronavirus.
Here's another one that I was kind of thinking of. I was giving it out, but what the heck? I'm sure someone else thought about it too.
Yeah, I just gave mine away too, just now.
You know the way like you hear about these retreats. You know, like people who are working in big corporation, they send them away for like a week to team build and all this kind of crack. So say one has been sent off. No, okay, the virus stuff was happening, but it was regarded, okay, guys, we'll go ahead with this week away in some island somewhere. And, you know, it looks like it's getting serious, but there'll be no travel problems, there'll be no problem. So basically go away, but they're stuck there. And maybe they never really liked each other in the first place, but thought, guys, it's just for a week. We can do this and go back and get paid big money like we normally do and pretend we like each other to keep the boss happy. But of course, the week turns into 2 weeks and then a month. And it could be like a Lord of the Flies kind of thing, where they basically have no Wi-Fi. Because the whole thing about the retreat was you go there to get away from it all. So they've no phones, nothing, because they were going to get picked up a week later. But now, I don't know, there was some message sent to them. Listen, sorry guys, you have to stay where you are. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine that? It'd be horrible. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see, like, when this is all done and dusted in a year's time, how many films, books, web series, short films will be. They'll have to have a coronavirus festival.
It'll be a genre of its own, the coronavirus filmmaking genre.
Like, you know, they did westerns, there'll be coronavirus, because it's such a huge thing. It's never really happened. Well, the Spanish flu happened 100 years ago.
Yeah.
But nobody made films about the Spanish flu.
No. Well,
I mean, 1918, but...
Yeah, I mean, they had the silent films back then.
Yeah.
So they could have done some silent films about it. But you're right, they really didn't. Or even books. You don't really read any books that were written about the Spanish flu. And that killed off like what, a third of
50
the population?
million.
Yeah, I mean, just a
50,
massive population.
I couldn't believe it. I
Hmm.
mean, 50 million. I mean, I remember reading, I go on, did I read an extra couple of zeros there? But even the name Spanish flu sounds so, it sounds like nothing.
It sounds like a drink.
At least COVID-19 sounds like a robot.
Yeah, it sounds dangerous.
But it's mad. But I think, yeah, I mean, basically, I know other people, actors, and they were saying, no, of course, the whole getting the COVID-19 is bad, but the mental health from staying indoors and from, just having that thing, meeting up with mates. I mean, that's what I do every day. I ring somebody.
Are you finding, because you're a pretty active actor, like you're pretty much
Yeah.
constantly in like films and plays and stuff. Do you find that you're going to have a harder time kind of getting back into it? Because I think of acting as kind of a bit of a muscle sometimes that you need to exercise. And now that you're stuck at home, not being able to exercise that muscle.
Well, see, the thing is, I mean, there are people I know who are saying, look, they can get on Skype and they can work on scenes, you know what I mean? Or even like this, work on scenes, because you can see each other, you can see into the eyes, that kind of crack. And, it's better than nothing. So you can still kind of do that. But there's even like, you can still rehearse in a way, perhaps to a certain degree. I know it's not the same as being in the room, but basically, whenever this is done, the films that I was supposed to be doing, they've all been postponed. So I will get to do them. I mean, you can always kind of read, you can still work on scripts. One thing that I'm hoping for is, but again, you never know when this could end or whatever. I've applied for the full-time Bow Street, like the Bow Street Academy.
Didn't you already do that? So I guess for the listener, kind of explain a little bit what the Bow Street, what you're applying for there.
The Bow Street Academy, it's been going for since 2012 in Dublin City. And it's a year-long full-time training actors to be actors for screen. So no theatre, all screen. I've done the part-time course. I really enjoyed it, and the teaching as well. I just really connected with it. I know people have done the full-time and they're doing it now, and they say it's even better than the part-time because you get to do more. You learn more. But it's for screen. And as Jerry Grenell, he's worked for like a long time with actors. And he's a certain method of teaching acting, and I just liked it.
And his method is different, so it's not like, it's not like Meisner or Strasberg. He kind of has his own system, correct?
He's formulated his own. It's kind of taking a bit from everything, from all the different types of acting, and I just like it. I mean, the times that I did the acting classes with Jerry Grenell. I remember feeling really like inspired by it and coming out thinking, oh yeah, that makes sense. Or the tips you were given, try the scene this way, or have this thought in your head. Or I just really, really liked it. And I know people who've done the full time, and they said to me, Aiden, just do it, apply for it. Well, I mean, apply for it, which I've done. But what I mean is that for me, if I got into it, it's supposed to start in September, but it could be a case of, okay, I mightn't get in. But if I got in, and then it could be a case of, oh, well, schools or whatever, we still can't meet up or whatever. So it could be even next year. Because even now, they're, in order to keep going, they're doing tutorials over like online. What I'm trying to say, give myself things to look forward to, potential things. So the short films I had planned to do, they will be done eventually. I should apply for this full-time course, so hopefully get that.
Hopefully by September, we'll be back to normal. Did you study acting prior to this?
Oh, I did. I did. In 2011, I did a performing arts degree in Sligo Institute of Technology. It's just Northwest Ireland again, below Donegal. And then I went traveling for a year around New Zealand, Southeast Asia, working, traveling. And then after that, I came home for a year, did plays around Donegal. I enjoyed them. I mean, I did The Field, the big classic play. I did The Good Doctor, which is like 1958 play. And the part I did was a Russian kind of play, Russian comedy, The Good Doctor. But they had Russian names. It's kind of a weird comedy play. But it was fun to play because it was first performed in New York, and Christopher Plummer was his first acting role in New York. We did The Freedom of the City, which is a famous play by Brian Friel, who wrote Dancing Luna, Playboy of the Western World. No, sorry, Philadelphia, here I come. So I did that. Then I thought, you know what? I need to move to Dublin. If I don't, I probably never will. So I moved to Dublin and did a lot of short films, some plays. But then I found out about a Meisner acting training course. So I did that for 2 years, part-time. Really enjoyed that. It's the Meisner, I think it really, what this say in the acting world, it really opened me up. You know, it allowed me to be comfortable, to be vulnerable in front of the camera. But yeah, there's a bit of Meisner involved in the Jerry Grenell Bow Street training. Like they're big on being in the moment. Because in life, you know, you're not really sitting in the middle of something planning, okay, I'm going to say this next. Well, you are, but subconsciously. But about being in the moment. And I like training all the time. I just like training and doing more things, learning more things and challenging myself.
I think that's great. And especially because a lot of people have an attitude of, oh, I don't need any more training. I'm great the way I am. But I think so too. I love doing workshops and stuff just because and especially because with workshops, you're there to learn. And so there's a little less pressure than if you're on set or on stage where you're there to perform. And so the workshops are fun for that. I'm curious with you, you're a kind of a career performer. Have you ever considered leaving Ireland and moving to, London or the US or something like that?
I was told, like some people say, I want to move to London and be near the action. And I understand that. But then the thing about London is that there's a lot more actors, a lot more opportunities, but a lot more competition. And then I was told by other actors who went over there that they were told, what have you done in Ireland before you came here? Oh, well, I've done a few plays. I'm recently trained. And they're going, so you haven't done anything? So basically, the school of thought I'm going with at the moment is that if you're to move to London, you'd want to have had like some kind of even a supporting part in a TV series or a part in be it even like an independent feature film, but did really well at festivals, or a part in like a normal feature film that was in the cinemas. Because otherwise, if you go over there, it's like, oh, you're in that, even though they might not have heard of it, but they see it as kind of like a step up, kind of.
They're very pretentious here, is one thing I have found, that they do look down upon basically everything else.
What have you done? In other words, the first thing they'll say is you might show them your CV about I trained here. They go, what have you done? And if you just say, well, I just finished my training. Yeah, so I have 100 others. There's a mini series. Well, now with all the coronavirus, it could be next year before it's even cast or made. It's going to be filmed and set in Donegal, and it's going to be called The Donegal Mysteries.
Oh, so you'll have the accent down perfectly.
Well, see, that's what I'm hoping for. So I've met the producer a couple of times, not formally, but informally. And I know she was casting. I know she will be casting for it. And it wasn't like, I never bring that up in front of people because it's needy. But just in conversation in a social event like a film screening or a film festival, she did bring up the fact that she would be casting. And also every now and then, I mean every 3 months, I might send a new show, a new scene, a new short film that I think would be good enough to show in my own Donegal accent and the part of the guard or something like that there. So basically, I mean, again, so nothing's ever definite, but the fact that I'm on the radar. So what I mean is, again, if I got Bow Street, great. If I got either a small part or supporting role in a mini series, I could maybe go over to London for 3 months, and have that in the back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like, God, I don't think it's like, oh, just because I was in this or maybe I was in this that I'm better than another actor. It's just that's what I'm told, that they see that and go, oh, well, at least you're in one thing as opposed to you weren't in anything.
With you, what's interesting about you too that I like is you're really open about working on a lot of stuff with a lot of people, and you have a good reputation of being easy to work with. So using your example of that mini series, if she knows you, but she could easily reach out to anybody else who's worked with you and been like, hey, what's this Aiden guy like? And then be like, oh yeah, he's great. He shows up, does his thing, and is easy to work with, which is really nice sometimes, because sometimes you get the flip side of that where the person thinks they're too good for something, or they're difficult to work with, and they kind of develop that reputation. And in a place like Ireland where everybody knows everybody, that's a good thing to have, I think.
One thing I was told is don't get drunk at film festivals or screenings. I don't drink a lot anyway, and I genuinely mean that. Like, I really am a social drinker, but because I've been told car crash stories of people getting drunk or people too boisterous, approaching casting directors or producers, and like, talking shop in a social environment, or just have you seen my show reel that I sent you? And so it's kind of trying to get the fine balance between that.
Yeah. Well, and people know you're an actor. So it's not like you're at an event and there's a director, casting director there, and they know who the actors are. So if I'm casting for something, I kind of already know who's the
Mm,
actors, and and it's like, so you wouldn't need to come up to me and be like, say, hey Milo, can you cast me in such and such? Because I already know who you are,
mm.
or whoever is. And so when you get those people that are kind of obnoxious about it, like, you already know. And I'm kind of that way too with it, with acting. I generally don't spend a lot of time at social events trying to get cast in something. It's more just interacting with people, and then
But that's the thing. Like, when I go to when I go to like film festivals or screenings, to give you an example, this is not name dropping, because it was just like a normal screening, a normal thing. Anyone could have shown up. It wasn't like a case of, oh my God, selected, invited people. But basically, I showed up at a Film Never Garland event, and Paul Butler Lennox and Ray Monge, they're great at running like events and stuff. I showed up. It was like a kind of a talk. There was a producer there, Edwina Forkin, and Frank Berry and Vincent Lamb, the directors. And so I showed up anyway. And then at the bar afterwards, people were chatting. And I never brought up acting or filming or nothing like that at all. And when it was brought up, it was either by themselves or other people. But yeah, no, I think it's good to talk about other things as well, because, yeah, I mean, you don't want to be talking about films the whole time.
no.
Like, I remember one time there was the editor of a lads mag over in England. I think it was Loaded. He was the editor of a lads mag. He by chance met Jack Nicholson at some party in London, and afterwards, of course, he was starstruck and all the rest. But afterwards, and it wasn't like an interview. He was just chatting to him for hours, like him and Jack Nicholson's mates. And he said, when it was all done and dusted, they said the goodbyes. He realised that they spent very little time talking about films, because he got chatting to him, and he ended up chatting to him like he was just like some guy he met. And I just find it interesting, like, whereas other people might meet someone and just chat about films the whole time or something like that. God, I'm not comparing myself to Jack Nicholson. I don't
Well,
know.
because I imagine people like Jack Nicholson probably would get annoyed after a while, people coming up to him all the time talking about his films. And he's like, yeah, I was in the fucking film. And, you don't need to talk to me about it too much. Let's talk about something else.
What I was thinking is, one thing I've gotten into recently is Joe Rogan. And it's interesting. Like, I know you're interviewing, and I'm always just curious about the way people approach interviews. Like, like Michael Parkinson was a big BBC interviewer. It was interesting. Like, he had a certain style of interviewing, and then other people like to cut in a lot. But when you watch Joe Rogan, some of his interviews go on for like about 2.5 hours.
For a long time, yeah.
I just find it interesting and Howard Stern, I watched an interview with him, and he says he doesn't see it as an interview. I think Oprah Winfrey's the same. They don't have any notes. They don't have any notes written down. Oh God, okay, what did I ask? Question number 22. Did I ask? Oh, hang on, I skipped number 3. They literally might read about them or whatever, and then just sitting down in front of them, like, and have a conversation.
That's the way I think of it. That's when people ask me when I'm interviewing, they're like, well, what questions are you going to ask? And my response is usually, I don't know, because, I think of it like a conversation.
Mm.
I might get a couple in mind just in case the conversation isn't flowing very well. But for the most part, exactly like when you jumped on the call, we just started talking, and that's kind of led to everything from there.
But yeah, I guess it's bizarre. I'm here in a quiet house by the quiet sea on a sunny day. Yeah, I'm thinking. I was supposed to be for 2 weeks, but now I'm thinking it could be like a month, it could be longer. And like, I do miss that kind of. I miss the Dublin kind of life. But it's just going to be. No, you know what I'm really, really fascinated about? This is fascinating as it is. It sounds morbid, but the way everything's shut down. What's going to be even. The end of World War II. You read documentaries, you watch footage. Everyone went mad because for 6 years everything was shut down. The war, toiling, grim stories. Everything was sad, depressed, and we're up against the the Nazis and the whatever. Whenever this is done and dusted, whenever bars open and nightclubs and festivals, it's going to be absolutely bananas.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have, I'm wondering, will the world go absolutely crazy? So it's fascinating to walk around deserted streets and normal things closed when it's all finished. And one thing as well I was gearing up for was a summer of festivals, not just film festivals. I was going to go to a lot of them. The Guns N' Roses concert, the music festivals, they won't be happening. They'll all be postponed till next year. And basically, it's going to be a boring summer.
It might
You know
be.
what I mean? Like, I mean, yes, writing, keeping creative, talking to people, reading books and walking. But at the end of the day, like, you miss. I mean, even my niece summed it up. She's one of my nieces here is 6. We were doing a bit of like amateur fishing, and I mean very amateur fishing on the pier down the road. And of course, she went to sit down beside me and I go, no, social distancing, like the 2 meters thing. And she, oh, for God's sake, and she moved away. And she says, Uncle Aiden, I'm finding this social distancing very, very tough. I just find it is because even yesterday I went for a walk with my mother, and like she had to stand like I was 2 meters apart, and I was trying to talk to her, but at the same time, the wind blowing in your face, and you can't really hear. So what was that? And then you go forward to listen. Oh, that's right. I have to keep it 2 meters. And it's like even when you're up at someone, my sister's house, the family, everyone's walking around in a circle, and sometimes I just go, it's really annoying. Like,
yeah, it's interesting here because there's a couple of parks right near where I live, and it's harder to social distance because everybody else is in the same situation of being stuck at home. And so we went down to the park yesterday, and it's just there were so many people there compared to normal. There's hardly anyone there. And yesterday, you're like, "Fuck, how am I supposed to social distance?" Because everybody else is doing the same thing I am, which is trying to get out of the house and get some fresh air, but also not get too close to each other.
Going to the local shop, it's a big enough shop, it's a petrol station shop. It's like it's being a board game because you've got all the little things you stand on and you move forward and someone else moves. And then when someone leaves, you come in and then you move there. It's really, 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 it's surreal. Yeah. I mean, it's so bizarre. It's something when you wake up, it's like, why am I here? What am I doing? And yeah, I think I miss my routine from Dublin. I miss going to the gym.
Me too, man. I totally with you on the exercising one. I'm going insane.
I mean, walking is good, and I don't like running because I like the gym because it's focused. You go there, right, an hour. I'm here, boom, hour, do it, go. But the whole running thing, if it's pissing rain, fuck this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I can't. I'll jog tomorrow, but then it's maybe, no, I miss the gym.
No, me too. And there's like, you can work out at home, but it's not the same, like, push-ups and that kind of stuff on the floor versus like having actual weights to work with. And when you leave the gym, you feel good because you had that workout. When you do your workout at home, you're like, well, I did something, but I still don't really feel all that good about it.
The gym feels like I've been to a professional workout.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, surrounded by other people, it's like they spur you on. TV's on, the music's pumping.
Yep.
Speakers, it kind of drives you on a bit. But if you're at home, it's kind of like, I'll have a cup of tea maybe now, and then I'll do the other half hour later.
Yeah.
When you go to the gym, it's focused. You've gone there for an hour for a reason.
Yep, that's it. Like, totally it.
After 20 minutes, you're not going to go, you know what, I might have a cup of tea. You're not because you're in the gym. I'm drinking so much tea and freaking coffee here. It's unreal. It's almost like.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is like, I've consumed so much fucking tea. Like, by the time this thing's done, my teeth are just going to be like, or yellow, black teeth from tea stains all over them because of how much tea I've been drinking.
What I found too is you get sick of the taste of tea.
Mm-hmm.
But I have found, and I've noticed this some of the times I stay in bed and breakfasts or hotels, a lot of them seem to go for this Earl Grey tea. And I've always liked that. Have you ever tried it?
I have. I don't like Earl Grey.
For me, now it's my favorite. Now I can drink that more and enjoy it more than other tea. And I say other tea, I don't mean like the home brand cheap tea.
Whatever works. Yeah, I rotate between just black tea, chamomile tea, mint tea. Those are kind of my 3.
And I must try and get a bit more decaf coffee because, yeah.
Get Nancy.
I mean, it's like.
Do you find that you're eating a lot more? Because that's my big one is since I'm at home so much, I'm just like, I walk into the kitchen and grab something. I'm not even hungry, but I'm eating. Like for me, it's not a huge deal because I'm already skinny. Like I'll never gain weight. But I do find I'm eating a lot.
2 months ago, I got the part in a short film. Well, it's a short film, about 20 minutes long. Or even I say about 30 minutes, coming on 30 minutes. I was being paid up in Carrickfergus near Belfast, never there before. And it involved, basically, I'm trapped in the house because there's zombies outside, so I can't leave. And so basically, I've been trapped there for months, so I'm rationing my food. So basically, they said, Aiden, you got the part in conditions to lose weight. And when I say lose weight, they said, Aiden, we don't want to be like, Christian Bale or Matthew McConaughey or, Jared Leto or nothing insane. But just because they said, Aiden, you look like you enjoyed a lot of your dinners. So basically, I went on the no carb or very low carb diet, and I was exercising as always. And I did lose weight around the face and the stomach. And everyone, even people who didn't know I was doing this, were saying, Aiden, lost weight. And they're right. So I've never had a sweet tooth, never been big into junk food, unless I go to someone else's house and they offer it to me, then it's like, okay. But when I'm shopping, I never go and buy it. And since then, it kind of made me think, you know what, I don't want to go back to having a big, because this is mad. Do you know that you are legally obese? Like, when someone says to me, like, obese, I think very overweight. But you can be obese, and the older you get, like an obese can be something like an inch over your if you pinch your stomach, if you can feel like an inch or more, you're overweight. And the older you get, the more health issues you can get. Of course, the more weight you have, the more dangerous. But what I mean is that even if you have like a small bit overweight, it's still overweight, and the older you get. So it had me thinking, bloody hell, cut out the carbs as much as you can. But I don't know what I find. Drinking coffee and tea is kind of my substitute. If I'm feeling hungry, I drink the coffee or the tea. It's almost like to fill the hunger.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like, but it's like some things have no carbs, others have a lot of carbs. But man, bread and cereal, man, you miss those things.
Yeah, my big one's carbs. I eat a lot of carbs, and I'm continuously trying to force myself to eat less, even if it's just use a wrap instead of bread for a sandwich. But potato chips or crisps for the Europeans, that kind of stuff. I do eat too many carbs.
Yeah, but they feel so good. Yeah. And beer as well. So that's a carb. That's a carb molecule.
So we should probably wrap it up here, I think. I do have like a couple more questions, though, actually, before we wrap up.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you find auditions? Because I know you're on a few, like you're on Spotlight and stuff. Mm-hmm. What do you find is the best? Because this is probably useful for any other actors listening. How do you find out about auditions?
I have an agent. Again, I thought with my accent, I might as well go closer to Belfast. So I have a Belfast-based agent, and he sends me some sides now and then. But of course, now with the coronavirus, everything's shut down. Filming is suspended or postponed, cancelled even. So that's why I thought, okay, my accent, I'm from Donegal, northern-based, and Belfast agent, because there's a lot of stuff being filmed in Northern Ireland. So I thought, go for that. But despite that, through contacts, like sometimes I get emails or from people who I've worked with years ago or over the years who have said, Aiden, I was the sound guy on a film, but now I've started to write and I have a part for you in mind. Can you send me a self-tape? Let's meet up, do an audition or reading, word of mouth, but also going online. There's various websites you can find auditions or information and networking. Going to film festivals, film premieres, film screenings, meeting people. And also contacting people online. Like say you go on Facebook, Instagram, someone's a writer, producer, director. And again, I don't mean, oh, hi, I'm an actor. It's more kind of a formal introduction, hello, or, contact casting directors. And if you can, like most of the casting directors in Ireland, I've done workshops with, like a day workshop, a weekend workshop, where you go get to meet them in person, so show that you're a functioning human being, and then get to work on a scene. They record it, give you feedback, and do it again. So that means they get to talk to you, get to kind of some idea who you are, and they get to see you work and take notes on camera. So definitely get in touch with casting directors. Look out for whenever they're doing workshops, casting or taping workshops, and you can contact them and email them politely, formally, inviting them to a show you're doing with a free ticket, or the screening of a film you're in, or a link to your recent short film or a show reel. And yeah.
Do you find, because this is kind of one of those discussions I've had with people about how valuable it is to have an agent. A lot of actors think, oh, I got to get an agent. I got to get an agent. As soon as I get an agent, suddenly I'll be famous. Do you find that there's really much work that you get through the agent versus finding yourself, or how's that go?
See, with the agent, when I went to him, he said, okay, you can apply for the big, you could come out of RADA, you could come out of certain places. A lot of the big agencies that cast like the big parts, they want someone who has work done already, a name or a solid body of work. He was saying with me, well, I can do this. I can guarantee you getting auditions or self-tapes for like small parts or supporting roles in TV shows, one-off feature films, short films, comedy series, either a couple of lines or a day player or a supporting role. And from that, that's a credit. You wrote on a BBC show, be 1 line or 10 lines, and then automatically that gives you a little boost up. So all build up these small little credits, and then you might eventually get another medium-sized credit. There's no harm getting a couple of one-liner parts in TV series, because again, it's like boost your CV, your IMDb profile. But yeah, I mean, but so he was very honest with me, and I like that. But having said that, I still go out, and I've noticed in the last 2 years, I've done a couple of student films, and the grade of writing has been very good. The production has been very good. And it's like they're all like 3rd or 4th year, final year films. And it's like they've been told by their lecturers, look, don't treat university or college like, oh, whenever I finish, then I'll start making the film proper. Treat it like you're on you're in the outside world, because there's so much competition out there for making short films and festivals. So the standard of student films it's gone very, very high. And then they send them on to festivals. And then festivals, a director, producer, writer might see you in a short film or a feature film in a festival and go, who's that? Oh, they're interesting. Oh, I must contact them. Maybe they might want to read or send a self-tape for something I've written. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Anyway, get to know casting directors, either contact them with an email with a link to your recent work, look out for their self-tape or audition workshops, and yeah, any chance to meet them. And when I say meet them, I don't go, hi, I'm an actor, but just meet them like normally, like you meet people. And in the course of a conversation, if it's not a course or a workshop, in the course of the conversation, when they're about to leave or you're about to leave, just say, oh, I'm an actor or something like that. Then I might send you an email if that's okay with my recent work, something like that. Keep it very polite, but not pushy.
Perfect. Well, I think that's good advice to end it on. If people want to track you down, where would they find you?
On my website, Aidan O Sullivan, actor.com.
All right. I'll throw the link in the show notes. Perfect. Well, thanks for joining me, Aiden. It was a pleasure talking to you. To anyone listening, as always, be sure to let me know what you think of the podcast by leaving a review on whatever podcast player it is you're getting it from. And with that, I will say goodbye.
Right, Joe. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Milo. All the best.
Best to you too. Thanks.